when I whet my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will take vengeance upon mine enemies, and I will repay those who hate me. O Lord, raise me to thy right hand and count me among thy saints.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another pregame preview brought to you by the Jackal Den. As we get ready to take on the Freejacks of New England up there in Quincy, Mass. Before I even get started, we'll talk about a few announcements. Yes, I will be going live at the Londoner Pub Addison tomorrow afternoon. Come on out. Have fun. It's great. Last week we were especially loud, almost coming away with the W there in Chicago. And then also, April 1st, we will be back home welcoming the Arrows of Toronto, or excuse me, Toronto, as people here say. It's Toronto, guys. It's supposed to roll. We'll be welcoming the Arrows of Toronto. It will be college night, and also we will be tailgating once again. So come on out, man. That was such a fun time. The home opener, we had a great time doing that. The next home game, it was a Friday night, so obviously wasn't as successful. But that first one, if you were there, you were there. It was absolutely exciting, fun time for everybody. So come on out. Come out an hour and a half early. Bring a grill. Bring your favorite grilled meats. If you want to be proper, you can do a braai. You guys know me. But yeah, we've got the lineups here. Just announced moments ago by the Dallas Jackals. We got the Freejacks lineup earlier this morning. So as I always start these videos, we always start with a check of the weather. And it was cold in Chicago. Not so cold this weekend. It's still going to be a bit chilly. We're looking at cloudy skies with a 50% chance of precipitation. Kickoff game time temperature will be 5 degrees Celsius. That would be 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be cold and wet in Quincy, Massachusetts. The New England Freejacks are coached by South African former Bull and Shark, Scott Matti. They are currently 3-0-1 on the season. They opened up the season beating the NOLA Gold 36-12. Then they took an L from the San Diego Legion, Ma'anonu-led San Diego Legion. They barely got by the skin of their teeth against DC 34-31. And then took down MLR Shield holding Rugby New York, the Iron Workers of New York, 33-18. So let's go ahead and get started on the New England Freejack roster here. The front row will consist of Canadian international Foster DeWitt, Kayano Karuru Symes. He is a former New Zealand U20 and former Hurricanes player down there in Wellington, New Zealand. Former Hawke's Bay Magpie Joel Hintz will round out the front row. Simisi Paea, he is a Tongan international. He will be the first lock at number 4. And Canadian Connor Keys at the other lock. The back row, the flankers and number 8 will be Mitch Jacobson, former Waikato Chief down there in New Zealand. Joel Johnston, a Bay of Plenty steamer, also Kiwi. And then at number 8, the Namibian international Wian Conradi will be here. Incidentally enough, he was actually supposed to be a Jackal, and then the season got canceled. So yeah, he should have actually been a Jackal. An all-New Zealand affair, keep it going at 9 and 10 with Kieran McLeay and Jason Putros. It's a former Taranaki Bull there. That's where the Bowden Barrett and the Barrett brothers are all from Taranaki, down there in New Zealand. Paula Belikana, he is their first wing. He is a Fijian-born player. And Taniela Filimone is a Tongan-born player. Those will be their wings. The centers are brought up by Wayne Vanderbunk. He is a former Puma down there in South Africa. And Canadian Ben Lesage. And rounded out by another Kiwi and Reese McDonald. A 5-3 split coming off of the bench with the first front row replacements being Andrew Quatrin, Kyle Sequeira, and Cole Keith. You've got 2 Canadians and a U.S. boy there. Otago player Sam Fishley will also be a flanker replacement, and Davidowitz, he's a USA-born player. He will be a flanker replacement as well. Holden Younger, a USA-born player. Spencer Jones, a Canadian, and Zach Bustris are all the forward or the back replacements for New England. Then we switch over to the Jackals. Unfortunately, injury to our newest hooker last week. He will not be dressing this week. So we have a front row, very familiar. Revel Pitt and Zeiss, Pablo Zeiss, will be the props, and the hooker will welcome back to the team one of my favorite boys on the club, Dewey Kutsia. The 1-2 pairing that has been money for us all season at lock, Sam Gola and Burr will be the locks. An all-Argentinian affair on the flankers with El Bigote himself, Conrado Aurora, and captaining the team this week will be Geronimo Gomez Vara, the team leading scorer, I believe, as well. Keeping it with the how could I forget? Number 8, also a Namibian international, Adrian Boyson, who's been having a very proper season. It'll be cool to see him and his opposite teammate there in New England in Conradi. Nezarino Valentini and Ticho Elias. I think his name is Martin on paper, but Ticho is his nickname according to his Instagram page. An all-Samoan affair on the wings. We got James Viafale and my Uso Luis Satama. They're both my Usos, but an all-Samoan affair on the wings there. Keeping it with the Argentinians, we've got Alejandro Torres and his mighty boot and Thomas Milanos at center. And our back will be Marcus Moroni. A 5-3 split, once again, coming off of the bench. I'm starting to call these guys our impact players because our bench has just been absolutely solid this year. Front row consisting of Canadian internationals Liam Murray and Kyle Steeves with... should be in the thoughts for USA Eagle. Robinson, you've done a damn good job this year. You and Golan need to be in USA Eagle camp. We'll just stop it at that, and I'll leave it at that. With Carson Shoemaker as a flanker replacement, and Cam Nelson out of, I believe, Virginia or West Virginia will be the other forward replacement. The fiery ball of energy that we all know who he is. We keep screaming for a start. Hasn't happened yet, but hopefully it happens soon. Danny Christensen out of Salt Lake City, Utah will be our scrum half replacement. With the first scorer in Jackals history, Campbell Johnstone, a.k.a. Soups, and Patrick Medina will be the back replacements. So some interesting statistics here. I did some numbers and crunched some numbers and things like that. And it was something that kind of noticed on both rosters this week because it was painfully obvious. And when it comes to the New England roster, you're looking at 8 Kiwis, 6 Canadians, 3 Americans, 2 Tongans, and 1 Safa-born player, and 1 Namibian. The 3 Americans all come off the bench. Now you go to the flip side over here, it's just as bad out here. We've got 10 Argentinians, 3 Canadians, technically, we've got 3 Canadians, 8 Americans, and 1 Namibian. Luis Atama qualifies as a USA eligible product. James Fiafale was actually born here. He was born in Arizona, I believe. I still call them my Usos because they're my Samoan brothers. So obviously it's basically Argentina versus New Zealand, essentially at this point. And if you look at the recent history between those two teams, it could go either way. Argentina has been able to peel off a couple of wins against the All Blacks in the last couple of years. One of them, the first one they ever had in history, was under our assistant coach, Mario Ledesma. So once again, it kind of comes down to, if we get into that kicking the ball away crap, we're screwed. Unless we're going to chase it down, we're screwed. They've got... Kiwis don't play that type of game. Kiwis will run and gun. I mean, Kiwis can usually play both types of games. But the kicking game is real big with Safa and Argentinian sides. The Kiwis are a bit more dynamic, kind of have... they can kind of play whatever style you want to play. And obviously, with the amount of Kiwis and Argentinians we're going to have out on the pitch, we're going to see an interesting clash of styles of rugby here. If we get into that kicking the ball away crap, we're done. We don't have a prayer. I would love to see us score early like we did last week. It was great to go up early and then not not play from behind the rest of the game like we did in the second half last week. But it's, once again, I've said this once, I say it again, I'll say it over and over again. It's not a question of if we're going to win, it's a question of when. When things clicking, our forward pack is as good as any in the league, if not better than a good chunk of the league. Our bench players, at the beginning of the season, I remember having a discussion with Rick Collins. We were really worried about our bench, because we had really nobody. Our bench players have become absolutely amazing. Liam Murray, Steves, and Robinson are just as good as our starters. They're just as good. And you got to look at our starters with Zeiss, who has multiple Argentina caps. You look at Revolpit, who has multiple Argentina 15, which is their second team. He has a couple of caps with them. These are guys that have major playing time, and we've got 3 young guys on the front row that go out, come off the bench every game, and just dominate just as well as the starting 3 guys. So that's not our problem. It's not scrums, it's not lineouts. Our problem is we kick the ball away and we don't chase it down, and we don't give our back space to make anything happen. Is that going to change? It remains to be seen. But either way, it's not going to be I don't see this as being a blowout affair like it was against Seattle and Houston. It's just they're good. They're currently atop the Eastern Division, but if you really look at both divisions, the Eastern Division is obviously the weaker of the 2 divisions. So it could happen this weekend. It's going to be a chilly one out there, so any of you guys planning on traveling and attending this one, wear layers because it's going to be cold and wet. But it should be a good one, regardless of what the outcome is. Hopefully our boys go out and make us proud. But until the post-game video, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Hopefully you guys are watching the game live with us. Come over to YouTube. We will be going live from the restaurant, even if it's just us talking cuck. I guess I need to explain what that word means, talking crap. Cuck is South African for poo-poo or doo-doo or whatever you want to say. Anyways, even if it's just us talking to each other or whatever, it's great to come out and you kind of just see what we're doing at the Londoner so I'm drinking my non-alcoholic beer and we're eating food. But once again, this is another episode of the Jackal Den podcast made by the fans for the fans. Cheers, guys.